You're watching Afro Solo TV here at SF Live. It's a show that's produced by the Afro Solo Theater Company. My name is Thomas Robert Simpson. I'm the founder and the artistic director of Afro Solo. We are a company that works towards showcasing, exploring, enhancing the African American experience through the arts, in particular, solo performers. As I said earlier, we have a festival that takes place in August. I mentioned our jazz concert, but we will also have a visual arts exhibit where we will do a retrospective of Maury Turner. And Maury Turner, you may remember, is the artist who started We Pals, the cartoon We Pal, which is the first integrated cartoon syndicated across the country back in 1965. Mr. Turner still lives in the East Bay. He lives in Berkeley. We will be showcasing his work from the beginning up until now, and he has had some exquisite works using cartoons as a way of helping to tell our stories. We will also have performances by local artists, theater, dance, spoken word artists, all as part of that festival that will take place. But for right now, one of the artists who will be part of the Jazz Festival is Mr. Frank Jackson, and we're very, very lucky to have him here. So we're going to go back to Mr. Jackson and talk a little bit about the jazz scene as you were growing up. Now, a lot of people think about Bebop City, and there were a few other clubs that were here that you played at also. So can you remember some of the other clubs that you played at?
There was the big one during the 40s was the Black Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
That was at Turk and Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the headliners would come there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I first met Johnny Hodges,
Mm-hmm.
who played the first chair in the reed section for his big band.
Mm-hmm.
And so many more.
Okay.
Oscar Peterson.
Yes, we'll talk about them now. When you were working at Bebop, you were one of the house musicians. It was that true?
Yes, at Bob City.
At Bop City. Did I say Bebop City? I meant Bop City. And do you remember who the other house musicians were at the time?
Oh, well, there were a lot of them. There was Dexter Gordon.
Dexter Gordon was a
Dex was-
house musician.
Dex was there for about a year and a half. I worked with Dex every night,
Wow.
and he was a wonderful musician to work with and a wonderful person.
And what about Slim?
Slim Gaylor.
Yes.
Slim never worked there.
Okay, but he had a club.
Slim opened it.
Oh,
It was Voup City before
Okay.
it was Bop City.
Okay. And Valp City lasted for just a few months?
2 months.
2 months. Do you know what happened? Where it was just such a short period of time, or the guy just bought it and became
He
Bop?
just, Slim would move on and do other things.
Okay. He started it, and that was his job. He got it going. Then he would move on, let someone else, and he'd move on to the next thing. So, who's the guy who ran Jimbo?
Jimbo. Yes.
Jimbo. What was Jimbo like?
Jimbo I loved him.
Mm-hmm.
He was he at first he didn't know much about jazz,
Mm-hmm.
and he learned it from the jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
He talked to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew him,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked and he educated himself to jazz. He became a jazz critic.
Wow. In your work at Bop City and other clubs, I'd like to just throw out a few names. And as I said, some of the names might be local, some might be legendary who have gone on. And I'd just like to hear you say a few words about them. In terms of the local people, Denise Perrier.
Denise, a very dear friend of mine, and we've done some things together. And we've been talking about getting together and doing some things, and we probably will too.
Mm-hmm. Kim Nally.
Kim, I know Kim very well. I worked for her I worked with her before
Yes.
she had
The club.
the club,
Uh-huh.
and I know her very well.
She's fabulous. Both of them have performed in Afro Solo,
Yes.
and they're just wonderful artists. Well, let's go back a little bit. I'm going to throw out the name John Coltrane.
John, I met John at Bop City,
Mm-hmm.
and he had just started doing with his with recordings, and the style and sound that he had changed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right after Bird had Kim come on the scene with Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
He and Diz.
Mm-hmm.
I also knew both of them.
And you played with Charlie Parker?
I played with Bird in Bop
Yes.
City.
Okay,
yes.
Bird is Charlie Parker. That's his name,
Yes.
is Bird. Yes, in Bop City.
Yes.
What was it like playing with him?
Oh, it was great.
And you were, kind of a youngster at that time too.
Yeah. Lester Young,
Mm-hmm.
I played with him.
Good. Ben Webster.
Ben, yeah. Ben used to take me up to the Booker T. Washington Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He and Stuff Smith, who played violin,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the lounge, and then in the dining room they had a white semi-upright piano back there.
Mm-hmm.
They used to take me back there and teach me songs.
Wow. Billie Holiday.
Billy, I worked not with her group. But Billy had a trio
Mm-hmm.
at the Say When Club on
Okay.
Bush Street downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked there for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there with her every night.
So what was it like working with her?
That was great. It was just great being around her.
Mm-hmm.
Billy had you felt a lot. A lot
Yes.
just being there and listening to her and watching her.
Wow. Now what about Ella Fitzgerald?
Ella was a sweetheart.
Mm.
I never. I was working downtown at an after-hours spot, and she came in one night and she came up and sat in with the band, and we had a ball.
Ray Charles.
Ray, I met him at Pop City.
Mm-hmm. Louis Armstrong.
Louis, I met Louis outside of Jack's Tavern on Sutter Street
Mm-hmm.
one afternoon. I was working there at nights,
Mm-hmm.
and he was standing outside talking to Eddie Cole, and that's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood out there and I talked to them, and Eddie invited me over to his place where he was staying the next evening,
Mm-hmm.
and I went over and Louis was there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just the three of us. I sit there and listen to them.
Wow.
That was one of the highlights of my musical life.
What about Dizzy?
Dizzy, I loved him. We used to shoot pool together.
Was he good?
Really.
But he could blow his horn.
You could go ahead, Lord, Dizzy, but he was fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got on the bandstand, it was a different thing. He was a businessman,
Mm-hmm. He was serious.
and he was serious.
Mm-hmm. And music was king.
Yes.
Oh my God, our time is almost up.
Oh,
Oh, and we're just getting started. A couple, Larry Vukovic. What's he like playing with now?
Larry.
Yes.
Larry is a good friend and a wonderful musician too.
And actually, I heard you perform at Omar Clay's service. And did you get to play with him very much?
Yes, Omar and I did thing. As a matter of fact, we have my last CD, which isn't released yet. Omar is on it,
Wow, that's wonderful.
and that's going to be out very shortly.
There are so many more names that we could talk about. Jimmy Witherspoon,
Yes.
Frank Butler, Rufus Reed, Ray Drummond, Eddie Hammond. You knew Maya Angelou, but our time is just
Grew
about
up with
up.
Maya.
Grew up with Maya. Well, what I can hope for is that maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk again. It's been a real treat being here with you. Thanks for joining us here on Afro Solo TV.